Hello, my name is Emmett Tucker. This is a video I am making to talk about how I used AI to help me flesh out the idea for a potential social movement in the mental health space. I added timestamps in the description if you would like to skip around. But first, today I would like to announce on this channel the connection between it and my LLC named Absurd.io. Make fun of the name all that you want, but then take a second to feel bad. Because the name was chosen in honor of the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh!, Kazuki Takahashi, who unfortunately drowned trying to save people in 2022. The game his creations inspired helped me learn reading and mathematics as a child. Well, before it became too complicated for even a scientist to want to play. For a long time I have wanted to develop something similarly inspiring, which led me to dedicating the past year to game development in the social impact space. My problem is that I have too many ideas, so what started out as a game development company has slowly morphed into an umbrella corporation that can encapsulate my citizen science efforts. I have 4 projects in progress. I will post videos on those when I have. Today I would like to focus on a project that I came up with, well, yesterday afternoon. I thought this would be the perfect opportunity of how I have been using ChatGPT to increase my productivity as a one-person business. This isn't a unique concept, as you can find a variety of different videos covering the topic on this very platform. I'll tell you one thing that ChatGPT can't do, which is write a good script. I won't go into too much detail, but yesterday I was at a training to become a speaker for the National Alliance on Mental Illness, or NAMI. While in the meeting, it dawned on me that even if I was able to make my story help someone else, it would only happen one person or group at a time. Hypothetically, I could record something, but there are plenty of people talking about their experiences suffering from different conditions on this platform as well. Due to my experience, I have long dreamed of being able to not only ease the stigma around mental illness, but also work on the less talked about topic of mental health system reform. With idea for the data collection Women's Advancement Neural Network app in mind, this new idea formed in my head. FYI, if you would like to see the process of prototyping the woman, you can check out my other videos that I will link in the description. Through my personal experience, I became intimately familiar with the process of psychometric and cognitive testing for the subject's point of view. One experience that I had in early 2023 helped me come up with this idea through the tests I was asked to complete. They were a lot like video games, and it made me angry. Not only because they were not fun to do, but also because I had to disrupt my lifestyle for 2 weeks prior to the appointment. Then I just ended up filling out a survey. The whole process could have been done through the phone or over the web. Total time waster. I also got some questions that basically just checked to make sure that I paid attention in high school, like what continent is the Nile is on. I almost felt cheated, and I will do everything but name the place where the testing took place. This was another dead end in a series of efforts to try and get answers to what may be wrong with me. Which brought me back to the same conclusion: these people don't have answers for me. I'm not exactly sure why, but the part of the problem that I can take an active role in is increasing the amount of data that is publicly available for people to conduct research on. I took a second to think about why there might not be enough quality data for research, and then decided not to write a joke about the people who study psychology into a video where I would actively be looking for their assistance. But then I decided to approach this problem from a scientist and product designer perspective. I thought of a few things that could be wrong. Trying to get people to be honest about their mental health for the purpose of study must be very difficult. This usually happens in an unfamiliar environment and setting where the subject, or me sometimes, has to disrupt their lives in order for a small incentive like a stipend. Even if it is declining, the stigma surrounding mental health also remains strong. This could prevent the average person to even seek evaluation in the first place or wanting to participate in research studies even if their information is kept private. Psychology is also plagued with the replication crisis, a topic I would absolutely love to talk about, but it basically means that numbers are sometimes fudged for the sake of scientific acclaim. All of these problems and more lead to a small and potentially unreliable data set to use for creating real solutions. So what could some potential solutions be? What about anonymous and secure participation in mental health assessment? This would still leave a very boring means of participation in research, which may not significantly increase the size of data publicly available. Wait, what if we redesigned all of the boring psychometric and cognitive tests to be more accessible? How would we do this? Through a game perhaps? Not a completely out there idea, as this has been attempted by several universities and institutions before. I will bring up how I found this out later with the assistance of ChatGPT with confirmatory research. So maybe develop more games that help collect data on psychologically testing. How about a bunch of mini games that collect a bunch of data? What if people didn't even feel like they were participating in this research through the design of the games? What if there was no stigma associated with participating in the platform, as it would also be used to collect data on people undiagnosed with any conditions? What if the gameplay was also designed to entice the player to want to continue in the research not only for the purpose of feeling good, but because our gameplay is addictive? You may be thinking, wait a second Emmett, are you proposing developing hundreds if not thousands of mini-games to support mental health research? Aren't you a single person who has a day job? Don't you already have 3 other incomplete projects? Can you even develop games or code? While those are some good, yet slightly hurtful questions, I do have some solutions. While yes, I am proposing developing a copious amount of mini-games, they will all be contained in one application to allow easy access. I would call the application Mental, standing for the Mindful Ethical Neuropsychological Testing Anonymous Learner. I take inspiration from the Nintendo game WarioWare, which has quick and exciting gameplay. So the games that I am talking about would not last longer than around a minute. These games would also be simple, and the user would be taken through them rapidly, allowing generation of a large dataset as an end product. As for the other questions, that is where the exciting part comes in. I propose crowdsourcing the development of these mini-games through a competition amongst colleges located throughout in Massachusetts, particularly those with game development clubs. Games would be evaluated based on their playability, and also on their merit as psychometric and cognitive tests that produce quality data. Not only would this competition give students of these universities something to put on their portfolio, something to feel good, their name in the credits, and monetary compensation for their efforts, but this campaign would also spread awareness of the way people have been let down by the mental health system. This effort would be a joint effort between Absurdio and the proposed partners such as NAMI. After the competition, Absurdio would finish the development of a citizen science application and prepare it for a public launch on smartphones. The finished version of the application would not only collect data through fun gameplay, but it will also be integrated with a human-in-the-loop eye of HITL elements. The HITL elements will allow players to ongoingly rate the multitude of games played for both their playability and merit as psychometric and cognitive tests. This will allow for continuing improvement of the application. We will make ratings of the mini-games available online with real-time updates to show their performance. This will allow other researchers to refine the game designs and development other gamified tests. The user's personal information will be kept secure through the use of blockchain technology. Overall, I believe that developing one game has the potential to change the way mental health research is conducted, and it can happen with this project. So now that I had an idea, it was time to refine it and get it to a point where I could reach out to potentially interested parties. To do this, I turned to the large language model ChatGPT. I shill enough for this proud, so I won't go over explaining it again. I expected that if you are watching this video, you are at least aware of technology trends at a high level. Once I had completed the NAMI training, I consulted a friend for a quick sanity check. He gave me a thumbs up, and that was enough support for me to feel confident moving forward. Much thanks. I also reached out to a member of a university group that focusing on video game development. In the process of writing the email, I gained even more confidence to move forward with the idea without even receiving a response. Hope that pays off. I had a quick meal to fuel. I already had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to accomplish through using ChatGPT. I needed a proposal that could properly explain the idea and the potential benefits it could have for society. I took a second to think, but I ended up with the following prompt. Keep in mind that the idea was not fully formed at the time of entering this prompt, as this idea has even evolved during the writing of this script.
Please help me polish an idea that I came up with. I would like to create an application that will enable people to participate in psychological testing through quick games. The app will work similar to the WarioWare games from Nintendo, meaning that the games will be very exciting, but only last about 30 seconds before moving on to the next game. The games will be designed around different psychological tests that would be used in a psychological testing office. I think what they call this is psychometry testing. These games would collect data on the user's performance to build a large data set over time that will become increasingly valuable. These games will be designed so that people will not realize that they are participating in mental health research examination. People would not be provided a diagnosis from this application, but would rather compete for high score. The point of the game will be fun and not to give psychological testing results. The data collected from this game will be used to fuel mental health research. This game will be accessible to anyone with a phone, and it will be free to download. Players would have a limited number of attempts to get a high score in a 3-hour period before the game would refresh. Players would have purchased virtual tokens in order to continue playing the game. I want the game to have an arcade-like aesthetic.
This gave me some tips about how to go about the process of making this idea. A few interesting ideas it gave me were names. I wanted it to be some silly name that has a cool acronym. This also gave me some ideas on the variety of mini-games and what they should test. For example, this is how I came up with the idea to test executive functioning. The other ideas I got from this prompt were not entirely useful to this process, but now ChatGPT had context for the task at hand, which would pay off in dividends. I then wanted to come up with a name. As I said before, I wanted it to represent psychology while sounding silly yet very technical. Also, keeping in mind feedback from my friend, I wanted to stress the ethical nature of the product and the fact that users' information would be kept anonymous. After a couple of attempts, I got the following prompt.
Please help me come up with some names for this. I want the name to be an acronym that says something about science and mindfulness. I want the acronym to spell out mental, to emphasize the crazy nature of the game. If possible, figure out some way to include a message of ethics into the name. It should stand for anonymous.
This gave me a starting point for deciding on a name. I liked a few of the names recommended, like the Mindful Ethics in Neuropsychological Testing with Anonymous Logistics, but it was too technical. I also liked the name Mindful Enlightenment Through Neuroscientific Tests, Anonymous Learning, but this sounded too hippie for me. Therefore, I decided to combine the names together and came up with the Mindful Ethical Neuropsychological Testing Anonymous Learner. To me, this felt like a game that gave its own personality. In between prompts, I was still writing the email to my connection in game development. I wanted to make sure that I did not make any grammatical errors so that I retained a professional appearance. I chose to use ChatGPT to review this email instead of moving it to a text editor. I did this with the following prompt.
I have decided to go with the name the Mindful Ethical Neuropsychological Testing Anonymous Learner. Please read over this and correct any grammar errors. Do not change anything else.
This gave me a properly formatted email that I felt comfortable sending out after another quick review. Hope I didn't miss anything. At this point in the writing of this script, I am still waiting for a response. I then decided to plan the social movement around the game itself. Like I said, I already had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to accomplish through this movement, and a decent idea of how to go about it. I still wanted to see where there were areas for improvement and needed help with the actual planning. So I entered the following prompt.
Please help me plan a social movement that has the potential to go viral in the state of Massachusetts. My mission is to start a game development competition between the different colleges in MA. It will be called the That's Mental competition and will have different colleges, groups around the state compete to develop the best 15 minutes 20-second games that will cognitively access players through mimicking psychometric tests. The winner of the competition will be the person who develops the game that produces the best quality cognitive data while also being fun. For context, there is a lot of local rivalry in MA. I am a local in MA and have a lot of connections around the area and some with local colleges with game development club. This movement will spread awareness of the flaws of the mental health system in America by spreading stories of those people who have been harmed significantly by medical professionals or those who have tragic stories. I will work with the National Alliance of Mental Illness. I already have connections with them as I am a volunteer. Colleges/groups will be incentivized to participate in the competition through having the opportunity to build their portfolio and help in a social movement. I will also offer a monetary reward to the winner and runner-ups of the competition. People will be able to contribute to the prize pool of the award, with a portion of the money pool being donated to ethical organizations that support genuine mental health reform. I need at least 50 colleges to participate in the competition in Boston and surrounding areas. If the competition got popular enough, I would extend the competition to the state of New England. If it got even more popular than that, the East Coast. If even more than that, countrywide. I plan to partner with influencers who have been impacted by the flaws of the mental health system. I will promote this competition on TikTok and YouTube primarily. Keep in mind that I will be organizing this competition under my LLC going by the name of Absurd.io. Some of the money generated through donation would be used to help support operating costs of the operation. And some of the costs, the first portion of the money raised, will be to support the development of the application that these games will be hosted on. Keep in mind that all games are supposed to be phone applications. The winner of the competition will be decided through a democratic process hosted online, with users being able to test out all of the games submitted and vote on the best one. Psychometric experts will be responsible for accessing the quality of the cognitive data that could be collected through gameplay of the top contenders. The games will not be able to be any random game. They are all supposed to fit the them of a nightmarish mental health situation. The mental game that will be the end product of this competition will be a game that follows a therapist as he is sent through a surreal nightmare of what his patients have experienced.
ChatGPT was able to quickly give me a response to this long prompt. It gave me some ideas for pre-launch research and networking, launching the movement, running the competition, what to do in the post-competition phase, and expanding the competition. I am currently doing pre-launch research and networking in between working on this script. I then needed to figure out who to reach out to get this competition started. I was able to easily Google a list of colleges in Massachusetts, but I couldn't easily copy and paste these into a text document, so I just asked ChatGPT to print me out a list of colleges with the following prompt.
Could you please give me a list of the top 50 most popular colleges in Massachusetts?
This gave me a list of 50 colleges that I could reach out to in order to get the competition started. However, that would be a lot of work to reach out to all of those colleges alone, and I wanted to first reach out to state schools, as I feel like they may be easy to get to participate. So I narrowed down the list of colleges instead of doing another Google search with the following prompt.
Great, now please give me the same list but with just the public schools.
This gave me a much more manageable list of 13 public schools in Massachusetts. I will begin working on reach out to these colleges upon the completion of the script. I then wanted to draft a proposal email that I could use to reach out to NAMI and other potential interested parties. To do this, I used a prompt.
Okay, now please help me come up with a proposal for the competition that I could bring to NAMI first. Make it broad enough where I can easily change the content to show to other invested parties.
This gave me an email template that I could use and edit. Now with the draft, I thought about how I haven't really confirmed my theory with any research just yet. This is when I asked ChatGPT to help me find relevant papers on the gamification of cognitive and psychometric tests. For some reason, I did this in another conversation with the following prompt.
Have people gamified psychometric, cognitive testing before, and are there any research papers on this?
ChatGPT confirmed that yes, gamification of these tests was not a novel idea and has been studied multiple times. This helped me feel like I was not reinventing the wheel. I quickly checked to make sure the papers that ChatGPT referenced were actually real papers. I could find all the papers mentioned other than one through confirmatory research. In this same side conversation with ChatGPT, I also asked for some songs about science that I could use for motivation. Not really relevant to the project, but I still thought I would mention that. Results were, alright. Then I needed to come up with a script for a video. I thought I could also use ChatGPT for this, but I was terribly wrong, most likely owing to the lazy prompt that I entered.
Okay, now please help me write a script for a YouTube video that will document the development of this application. I plan on making the video at least 8 minutes. This video will be titled, AI-Assisted Design of a Social Movement Part 1, Help Me Getting Started. In this video, I will document the process that you and I have gone through so far. It will go over the prompt engineering that I used to get the proper response from you in order to help design this competition that will hopefully start a social movement. Don't worry, I will give you credit.
This gave me an absolutely trash script that I needed to rewrite, which I am doing now. The quality was probably due to how lazy the prompt was. I tried to do this quickly by asking ChatGPT to rewrite the script in a more comedic tone with the prompt.
Please rewrite the script with a slightly comedic twist that is still somewhat professional.
This also did not give me a good result. So like Thane.os, I decided to do it myself. It is going to get meta at this point in the script, but hold on, there's more. With the script in hand, I was done with using ChatGPT for now. My work, however, was not done. Now it was time to create video and audio to show off this project to interested parties. I also thought that while I'm at it, I will show the process of how I came up with the idea of a social movement with AI assistants. First, I needed to make the audio, which occurred at the same time as writing this script. I used a free-to-download program named Descript, free plug. This program allows you to convert text to audio, which is great for someone like me who is not the best at public speaking or even reading scripts. You are able to select different voices to use.
Like this one, or this one.
Or even this epic one.
I have tried to clone my own voice, but can't figure it out. In the early hours of August 1st, I started writing. I tried to use the ChatGPT script initially, but like I already said, it was trash. So I just started typing until about 3 a.m. before deciding to sleep for a few hours. By 8 I was back up and writing again. Eventually I got the script to a point where it was decent enough for me to start video editing. As of writing this sentence, I am not there yet. Probably the most annoying part of this process is that there is no spell check on Descript, which means that typically I have to be very careful when typing or carefully listen to the audio back to check for pronunciation errors. I also have to spell things in a strange way to make sure that everything sounds right. For example, if I spell my company's name out how it normally is, it sounds like Absurd.io, a fact I learned about through watching Team 4-Star videos. When changing the speaker, the program starts to get a little buggy. The website that I use to make websites is called Canva. They allow for the easy creation and editing of videos. I started a new video file while working on the script to give me some basic idea of the topics that I would like to cover in the video. I then went through the painstaking process of making what is essentially a slideshow so that I can avoid showing my face and buying expensive equipment. The trickiest part of this is making sure that all of the audio lines up with the different transitions between the scenes. After the video and the audio are completed, I have to use the program Clipchamp to put them both together. This is a relatively easy process as long as the audio and video have been created correctly. I simply import the audio and video files and then drag them into the scene. I then watch the video over to make sure that there are no errors. After this, I export the video and begin to upload it to YouTube. I write a description with links and timestamps, then proceed to schedule the posting. I then wrote a compelling email to NAMI and other potentially interested parties containing the video link. Hopefully that led to at least one view on this video. By this time it was the middle of the day on August 1st. Rent was due and so was my credit card payment, but the work wasn't finished. I now have to commit additional resources and build a team that can handle this project. I'm excited for the challenge. This will be a process that will most likely involve another late night with no assistance other than ChatGPT, lots of copying and pasting fun. Ideally, I will get some leads and be able to make an update video in the near future. It would be really awkward if that didn't happen, right? Throughout the process of creating this video, my connection in the gaming sphere got back to me and said that this effort would cost around $5 million with a ballpark estimate. $2 million at the low end. This may sound intimidating, but in reality is a small cost when considering the potential social impact. I will do crowdfunding on Patreon and will announce more crowdfunding efforts in the near future. There will also be a registration fee for all colleges that sign up for the competition. This would be reasonable, but also high enough to cover the operating costs with a little left over for donations to the appropriate organizations. Please stay tuned for more updates. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you liked it and would like to support the efforts of Absurd.io, please follow the link in the description to the associated link tree. Not only will you find my other social media marketing failures, but you will also find a link to my Patreon, where you can become a patron of the tier I made specifically for the That's Mental project. After I finish this video, I will make sure that it will go live on August 1st, a dear friend of mine's birthday. Throughout August 1st, I will begin the awkward and uncomfortable process of reaching out to my connections with this idea and showing this video to them. If this idea goes nowhere, I may lose a little bit of faith, but I will remain resilient in the face of struggle and seek new opportunities. If you are interested in helping out, feel free to reach out to me through my website or the posted email. If you found this through TikTok, talk some trash to Absurdi for me. Have a great day.